Hey folks, it's Maxie here and welcome to another TEW2020 video. Join us for our first Dynamite after Fyter Fest as we're on the road to our UK event, which of course will be AEW Knighthood. So it's just a short build towards that, 2 weeks, so we need to try and fit a lot of stuff in this Dynamite and next week's as well. As we have kind of like a throwaway event. I have put it in the game as a throwaway event, although to be fair, because it's only being broadcast, well, sorry, it's not being broadcast, it's just being the people that will be in attendance will get to watch it. Just want to try something a wee bit different, see if it works, see if it doesn't. Speaking of broadcasting, I've noticed that because of the deal with TNT and just the way this mod is, obviously this is killing the business from back in June, so yeah, long time ago, we don't seem to be covering the full of America in terms of our overness, so we are not as popular in, say, Hawaii by quite considerable margins with a lot of our wrestlers, and because of losing ITV we also are quite far back in overness in the UK. Like Pac and Osprey are only in the, I think they're in the high 60s, so don't expect a magic show there, although their in-ring could certainly help them. But I feel like everything will kind of like, I wouldn't say normalise, but more so balance itself once we get to the new year 2022. And once we can obviously renegotiate deals across the world. Obviously we're stuck on TNT for a while, but we will have the added bonus of being able to go to maybe USA Network, just to name one, for our second show. And obviously we'll have the likes of Sky Sports, BT. I might even import networking deals from other mods, just to obviously give us a bit more depth, because obviously I use the Who's brilliant depth of venues, angle packs from elsewhere, so we'll see what we can do, but just to give it a bit more balance. It has to be noted as well, we're in a massive economy decline and a wrestling popularity decline, so not the greatest time to be growing your company, but still, as long as we can have good storylines, good fun booking, we can see what happens. So we'll crack on another episode of Dynamite. Thanks for tuning in, let's see how it goes. So this week I've opted for somewhere a wee bit different, somewhere we hadn't been in a while, so we're in Portland, Maine. Attendance of just under 10,000, 9,406 to be exact. Our showing of Dark had a pre-show bout that had Subpar Wrestling and Little Heat as Private Party defeat the Hybrid 2 in 10:17. Isaiah Cassidy pins Jack Evans, nice 62 performance there. Well, Isaiah's gimmick's getting a little bit stale. I'm not going to fix that gimmick until we have a proper plan of where Private Party are going in the future. We had Kip Sabian get a victory over Laredo Kid in 9:50 with a springboard dropkick. A 47 and a 43 performance gives us a 47 rated matchup, but a good win for Kip. He's been mostly an enhancement talent, so finally getting a W in that win column. We had Sadie Gibbs defeat Penelope Ford in 9:14 by pinfall. This was a 34. Probably see where this is going. Two Brits with victories in the last two matches. We're having an event in the UK shortly. Maybe just giving them some winning momentum to take to that. But a good one anyway for Sadie. Then had Matt Hardy defeat Brandon Cutler in 8:15 by a twist of fate. This was a 55. Good victory for Big Money Matt, who after the match decides to just verbally destroy Brandon Cutler. He just says, "Look at you, Brandon, you're nothing but a loser. What's that, about 30 matches in AEW and you've still not ever won? You should just give up the wrestling contract and just be a multimedia guy." So a 71. I will start introducing some angles on Dark, because I do want to start promoting some lower storylines rather than just having kick-ass matches all the time. So we'll probably use that as like a lesser third hour on the show. And we had Scorpio Sky and Ace Austin face each other, and I'm a wee bit disappointed that these two didn't click, because I thought this would have been a kick-ass match. But with Ace Austin defeat Scorpio Sky in 10:14, illegally using the ropes for leverage. So a 61 and a match-up between two guys that I absolutely should be pushing, and for some reason are doing next to nothing. On to the show. We start off with Mick Foley and Cody in the ring. So we basically just have Cody coming in to start the promo, and Cody talks about his match with Ray Phoenix, and he says it's been a great feud. I'm disappointed that he didn't get the victory, but a bit of credit has to be given to Ray Phoenix. He wanted to elevate his game to the next level, and he certainly did that by taking the victory. Mick Foley comes out and says, Cody, I'm sorry to interrupt you, I know you're on a bit of a downbeat here, but I feel like it's time to give you a bit of an opportunity. Now, I know you said that you weren't ever wanting to challenge again for the World Heavyweight Championship, but what we're going to make happen at AEW Knighthood is the winner gets a knighthood. They become a Sir, but they also become the #1 contender to the World Heavyweight Championship. Now, it's a rare opportunity we're going to give you, Cody, but we're going to put you in that tournament. This could probably be your one and only shot at one night 8-man tournament of becoming AEW World Champion again. So, big statement there from Mick, and he's also said AEW All Out of Control will no longer be happening. That pay-per-view will now be called AEW Bank on it. So we'll be intrigued to see how that goes. I've got a good match stipulation for that one, but just had a few ideas and we're going to go with AEW Bank on it. So let me know what you think of that. But 94, so that gives us a good promo to start the show, and we can just hope our main event, the 8 competitors of the tournament, so that should hopefully do well. I started off with Cassie defeating Hikaru Shida in 10-14 by using underhanded tactics. This was a 54. 41 performance from Shida, a 57 for Cassie, so Shida's still not over with the US audience, so we do need to work on that, but a good win for Cassie regardless. Then we have a promo with Kenny Omega, and Kenny said it's been a while since he's been wrestling, and he's been kind of doing a lot of stuff backstage. He's been trying to help the AEW brand, he's been helping the AEW games, and he's just looking at a screen, he's just watching the end of that match, seeing Shida take that loss, and he's just a wee bit, he's shaking his head, he's disappointed. This leads to Mick Foley bumping into him backstage. Obviously he's came back from being with Cody earlier on, and he just says, well, Kenny, remember one thing, this whole women's division was meant to be managed and controlled by you. Why don't, if you're not happy with how it's going, you feel like the women you brought in are not quite performing or up to scratch, but the women that we've brought in, like your Cassies and various others, are performing, then why don't you do something about it? Remember, that mixed championship is coming to AEW, Kenny, and if you want involved, now might be the time to get involved in that. So that mixed championship is going to be coming up shortly. I think it is going to debut at Bank on it, and Kenny will get into that division to try and help develop some of the women talent. Then have our weekly segment with the Dark Order, Brody Lee, Darby Allin, Eva Luno, Stu Grayson, John Silver, Priscilla Kelly and new member Abaddon. This is a 58. Brody Lee just basically says, let's keep this momentum up. We'll see how good a victory the Abaddon can get next as she takes on Tenille Dashwood. Tonight, oh sorry, I had one other thing. Priscilla, watch what Abaddon does because you can learn a lot from her, leaving a wee bit of confused look from Priscilla Kelly. Then Brody Lee says tonight is his statement. He's in that main event match, he's in that tournament, and he says he's going to knock the head clean off Cody Rhodes. Abaddon's matchup against Tenille was abysmal, and in 8:25 it was a distraction from John Silver that gave Abaddon the win. A 34 matchup here, obviously both aren't as over, so we need to improve that, but a good win for Abaddon as we continue her build up. Then have Sera with a promo, basically like a Zoom call one. She's just saying she's looking forward to getting back in the ring. She says she's missed it, but she's been medically cleared and she will be competing at AEW Knighthood. She can't wait to make her AEW debut, basically in the UK, and is really looking forward to adding a new chapter to her wrestling life. And she says, stay tuned and you can just see how ready I am. The reason is, I went with the training montage video, and it's just basically Sera showing that she can take all the bumps, she's back in ring shape, and that she is ready for Shayna Baszler come Knighthood in 2 weeks' time. Next up, we had a terrible matchup that saw Taylorbait defeat Peter Avalon in 10:26 with a Tyler Driver 97. This was a 58. 64 performance from Tyler, a 42 from Avalon. Again, just giving some momentum to Taylorbait. You notice with a lot of Dynamites now, I'll be more focusing on the momentum side of things, just making sure once we get to pay-per-views that everybody wrestling has at least a positive momentum, so they can really benefit from that. After this, Taylorbait basically just says, I hear that this pay-per-view in the UK is going to give a lot of British wrestlers an opportunity. Well, I'm going to shoot my shot here, and I see we've got a new TNT champion in Darby Allin, and Darby, I want to challenge you for that belt in my home country of the UK. So looking for, we are going to make this match as official. Taylorbait, Darby Allin, TNT Championship. I just think that'd be amazing, and it'll be interesting to see how that goes down on British shores. And that's at 56. Then had some 6-man action, and that is not good. The fact that Hangman has sustained a Class 2 fracture larynx, I think that's going to take him out for a while, which is not good because he's got 97 over. But anyway, about they had some decent reaction from the crowd. Subpar Wrestling with the Hangman Page, the Butcher and the Blade defeat Austin Creed, Claudio Castagnoli and Miro, who had teamed up. There's a bit of an alliance going to be building soon. You'll see that over the next couple of weeks. At 11:35 when Hangman Page pinned Austin Creed with the Adam's Apple. Butcher the weak link, Page head and shoulders above the rest, just a 68 because of the mixture of overness. The reason for this matchup was basically one, I want to trial and error a stable that will be coming shortly. Small spoiler, but there you go. And I felt like if we're going to get the Butcher and the Blade over, we need to put them with matches with Hangman, and that should hopefully get them the overness, so their in-ring performance will go up thanks to that. Mad that the Butcher's only got a 36 and Hangman's getting a 95, and well, that makes me sad. I'm worried about that now. It's depressing. Before our next matchup, we have Sammy Guevara and Jake Hager bump into Jon Moxley, and they just leave him beaten down and just destroy him. Obviously, Sammy gets the cheap shot, and then Hager just power bombs Moxley through a conveniently placed table. That was in 86. That was to lead us to our matchup between Best Friends and Proud and Powerful, the tag champs. And in the recent matchup, we had Best Friends, Trent Barretta and Chuck Taylor, defeat Santana and Ortiz when Trent pinned Ortiz with a fast roll-up. A 64. So the champions have lost already. Proper WWE booking that. We did have to keep Ortiz looking strong, but for the purpose of storylines, that was the decision I went with. So a 64 for that. Small promo from Will Osprey just talking about him versus Pac. He says, despite both of them being from the UK, it's well aware that they both made names initially in Japan. So it's going to be quite a homecoming to be able to show the British people on British shores just how good they've developed their craft. So a 75, and of course we have Osprey versus Pac for the World Championship coming up soon. We then have a backstage segment with Chris Jericho and Cody. Now the reason is obviously both guys are in the tournament, so they've got that mutual respect for each other. Say if they have to face each other, let the best man win, but we've had each other's back before, and more than happy to continue to do that until the time comes. So yeah, interesting. But I can't go over that Chris is still holding his own. I'm actually a wee bit disappointed that the promo wasn't good. He's actually getting matches up at that rating as well, but I felt like Chris Jericho and Cody is going to be that bloody colour commentary again, isn't it? Oh Renee, hurry up and allow your contract to start. And the main event was only a 78, which is a bit disappointing. But they had great wrestling and good heat. The team of Cody, Kenny Omega, Chris Jericho and Matt Riddle defeated Brody Lee, Brian Cage, Ray Phoenix, Tommy End in 1807 when Cody pinned Brian Cage with a beautiful disaster. So in this one, we had a 78, which is a bit disappointing, maybe limited because of the match time was under 20 minutes. You can see the worst performance was actually Tommy End with 73, but some great performances. Phoenix, Brody Lee, Cody and Kerry as the standouts. You're probably wondering why is Kenny in this, and obviously our storyline going on as well. Could put him in a few storylines. Remember, Knighthood's only 2 weeks away, so in this game even 10 days away. Just going to quickly look through my phone here because I have the first round matches. So for the tournament, we are going to see Cody versus Tommy End, Phoenix versus Matt Riddle, Kenny Omega versus Brian Cage, and Chris Jericho versus Brody Lee. Remember, of course, also at that event we have Pac versus Will Osprey for the World Championship, Sera versus Shayna Baszler, and Taylorbait versus Darby Allin. A few other matches will get announced next week. As I say, it's not a week away, and then we'll start the road to bank on it. So to finish up with an 81, our popularity increases in 37 regions. We'll quickly jump to see if there's been any new signees or what news items we're getting, and we'll see how bad that Hangman Page episode is. The Miz, if you were not another, I think Miz is actually a long-term injury. He's out anyway for like a year, I think. He is actually due back in like 2 weeks. But I've seen enough WWE guys, despite his promos obviously would be fantastic. I can't just sign everyone, so any slot with WWE, but maybe we'll see how he is down the line. Show was good. If we just click here, Jake Roberts says Cassidy's turning out a good worker, and Dynamite was a 3.02, which I think might be our best, and Hangman's injury. So let's see how severe that Hangman injury was, so don't give away spoilers. We'll quickly jump to it when you finally find a way to get around the spoilers. So you can see for our injury report, it's 2 months and 2 weeks, so he's going to be back before the last week of December, if I'm right. 2 months would take you to December week 1, and then you're pretty much, so if I have an event on the Saturday the last week of December, he can come back for that. Although, you can still do angles, which is good, because that means he can promos and get over Butcher and Blade. Actually quite interested in the fact that I can still use Reynolds in angles, so we'll probably bring Alex Reynolds back to television for the next Dynamite, because he wasn't able to wrestle and he'd done it, but if he can work angles, we'll get him in promos with the Dark Order. As you can see, Kent is still in rehab for another 5 months, and Seema for another 6 months, so yeah, that's the injury report. But anyway, I'll crack on. I'll go and book the Go Home show for Knighthood. Hopefully you join us for that, and I'll see you for the next episode in a few days' time. Take it easy. See you soon. Bye bye.